If my kids came to me and asked me, what traits should I look for in a life partner? Not that they ever will, but I kind of like to hope. That's what we're going to talk about today on The Art of Lifing with Keka. Growing up is hard to do, right? When I watch my kids growing up, I keep thinking to myself, what life lessons would I want to pass down to my kids? What are some of the things that I've learned that maybe I didn't know when I was a child that I can now give them so they can be a little further ahead? So when it comes to relationships, I think that, every mom and dad has lots of advice that they probably want to pass on to their kids. And I'm sure that my kids would probably be like, oh, mom. But I think I'm going to share some of these things with them anyway. And I figured I'd take the opportunity to share with you. Because when I look at success in relationships and success in life, there's a few things that I think it's important that we look out for when we're looking for a life partner. And I want to caveat it by saying I feel really lucky that I got that in my relationship, and I hope that for my kids that they'll have that too. So number one, I think it's really important to find somebody who's not afraid of hard work. Someone who's going to be able to sort of get in and do the work that needs to be done around life. And so whether you're exhausted and you need to go grocery shopping, or you might be sleep deprived and you need to change your baby's diaper to give your partner a break, whatever it might be, maybe even working hard at work and sort of gaining growth and opportunities, whatever it is, if you marry somebody at the end of the day, or you decide to be with somebody at the end of the day who is a hard worker, I just feel like it makes your life easier. So if I were telling my sons, Kaden and Kieran, I would say, find somebody who is a really hard worker, who's not afraid of putting in that work, because you're going to both be able to get so much more out of life as a result. Number two, I think that empathy is a very important characteristic that sometimes in our society we undervalue. But I think that, when you find somebody that's naturally empathetic towards others, you're going to have a relationship where you're both looking out for each other. I can say that, for my husband and I, for example, we tend to get along, we tend to be conflict avoiding, but there are times and days where we're very stressed. One of us is stressed or the other is stressed. Sometimes both of us are stressed. If we come into the relationship with a sense of empathy, where we're really trying to understand what the other person is going through, it helps us to overcome the adversities that we might be facing, and it does so in a way that we feel nurtured. Sometimes I know for me, when I'm really stressed, I might withdraw a little bit, and I might be very much more contemplative and not outward as much. Or sometimes I might snap at somebody who's around me when I'm frustrated. If my partner is empathetic towards me and says, you know what, I'm not going to take that action at face value, there's something deeper there, they might be a bit more forgiving. They might look at the circumstance and say, okay, you know what, how am I going to support this person? And I'm really lucky that my husband does that for me. And I try to do that for him too. So I think that empathy is a really good trait to look for in a partner. Number three, social intelligence. This is the kind of thing where I would say to my sons, when you go out in social circles and settings, your partner that you're with, do they get along with other people? Do other people sort of generally like them? Not everybody's going to like everybody, for sure. But there are some people in life that tend to cause more friction in social settings, or, rub people the wrong way. And I've seen relationships where people have spent their entire time overcompensating for their partner, or losing out on social relationships because their partner doesn't get along with people. And I just think that that's a tougher, harder ride. Can you hear the wind? We have like this crazy windstorm going. I just kind of want to say that I think the wind is agreeing with me here. But regardless, so I think that finding somebody that has a sense of emotional intelligence, who can understand the people around them, I think it just gives you a smoother ride in life. And life comes with many ups and downs, so the smoother you can make it, the better, right? Last but not least, I think that having complementary talents or complementary talents or skills is something that I think can make your life a lot easier. When you're creating a household and you're creating a life together, quite often you're sharing responsibilities. So, okay, you're good at this, you do this part, I'm good at this, I'm going to do that. And we sort of like give and take in our relationships. And when you have complementary skills, it just makes things a lot easier because, you know, I know for myself, my husband's strengths are often my weaknesses and vice versa. So we will pick the things that we can do to support each other accordingly. And I think sometimes, you know, from a societal perspective, if we're very different, people go, what do you have in common? You have nothing in common. I think values have to be something that you have in common, but the skills and traits that you might have might be different. You know, when my husband and I first were getting together, a lot of people said to me, you know, you should go out with him. And I kept thinking, you know, he's a country boy and he likes Led Zeppelin and I'm a city girl and I like Madonna. What could we possibly have in common? And what I realized when I look back now is that our values were very much in the same place, but our skills and our approach and so many things are so completely different. And I'll give you one example. When it comes to decorating, for example, or, you know, setting up our home, I might come into a living room that's completely empty and I'm going to sit and think about the various ways that we could position our furniture, think about what it's going to look like. It's all in my head. And when I find the solution in my head that I'm happy with, I will go out and I'll actually set up the room. My husband on the other end is completely opposite to me. He would run into the room and just start moving things back and forth here and there, maybe have like 17 different iterations until he finds the one he likes and then he sticks with it. So, you know, when you have those different ways of working, they come in handy in life for different opportunities in different situations. So if my kids ever watch this when they're older and they're looking for a life partner, Kaden and Kieran, those are the 4 things that I would recommend for you to find a life partner, just to be able to have a better life and maybe an easier life overall. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, then please like it and share it with anybody that you think might be interested in this content as well. I would also love it if you could subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos every Tuesday. And last but not least, if you have any comments, I would love to have a conversation with you. Let's do this journey together. Let's master the art of lifing and really do life on purpose.